Starfield is Bethesda's last chance. I know some of you guys are probably hovering over the dislike button already because I'm being a negative Nancy, but give me an honest chance and hear me out. When I say Bethesda's last chance, as in the game before we finally say, okay, Bethesda has their best days behind them, most of you probably think of Elder Scrolls 6 as being the game that puts the nail in the coffin. But in my opinion, Bethesda's legacy is hinged upon Starfield, and how this game does will be a great indicator for how the Elder Scrolls 6 will turn out. There is a few points I want to go over, like how Bethesda's reputation right now isn't in the best place, and some of my worries about Starfield. The last thing I'll talk about is how Starfield can make or break Bethesda's reputation. But without any further ado, let's roll the intro and get into it. Bethesda's reputation recently has been in a bit of a jam. Just to give you guys some background, I've played every Bethesda game from Morrowind to Fallout 4. New Vegas isn't a Bethesda game, it was developed by Obsidian, as I'm sure most of you know, but for those who don't, there's that. Also, I don't count Fallout 76 as a true Bethesda game because it was made by Bethesda's Austin branch, which is not the same team that gave us Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Skyrim, and Fallout 4. They just slapped the BGS seal on 76 to boost the sales and to give us the impression that it was developed by the team that we are more familiar with. What the main branch of Bethesda, the one we all care about, has been up to since Fallout 4 has been Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6. But why is Bethesda's reputation in a jam? Well, Fallout 76 was a disappointment, especially at launch, and this has put a stain on the company as a whole, going for cash grabs. And all of the Skyrim re-releases, along with the Creation Club, haven't helped ease this image. But like I said before, 76 was not made by the same team, so let's not fault the main branch for it. Fallout 4, on the other hand, was made by the main team, and this game has some really mixed reactions. The majority of people loved this game at first, and it was a pretty good game, but when it comes to the other Bethesda games, like Fallout 3 or the Elder Scrolls games, Fallout 4 has not held the same legacy. Now I'm going to take just 2 minutes to explain how Fallout 4 was a letdown, because this is important in the beginning of the downfall of Bethesda's public perception. Fallout 4 was a bad game by Bethesda's standards, and the role-playing aspects are weaker than any of their older games. Fallout 4 had some very decent innovations. I love the crafting and settlement building this game had to offer, and the main story was a big step up from Skyrim. But in the process of adding these new improvements, Bethesda seems to have forgotten about what made their older games so special. The amount of choices and immersion you could feel in Fallout 3 was incredible, and I personally loved the karma system. Fallout 4 had a dialogue wheel, similar to Mass Effect, but this wheel had 4 dialogue choices that only led to 2 possible outcomes. I mean, look at this interaction with Codsworth. 3 of the options are the same. This made the choices feel far less like the player's free will, and more so a forced path outlined by the devs. On top of this, the voice protagonist was a super polarizing choice. If you wanted immersion and to feel like your character was truly your own, then this voice protagonist was terrible because it made you feel like you had less control over your own character. On top of this, there was no option to have different voices or to even toggle it off. Personally, I think the voice actors did a great job in this game, but the role-playing immersion side in me wishes we had the old way, with silent protagonists that could have whatever voice we wanted them to have inside of our heads. The last point I'll make about one of Fallout 4's many oversights is the lack of unique side quests or things to do after the main story. Fallout 4's main story is really good, especially for a Bethesda game, but after you beat it, there's literally nothing to do narrative-wise. You can run your settlements and do Radiant quests, but besides that, there's nothing. There's no factions to join or unique side quests to enjoy, and the game just becomes go here, fetch this, come back, and collect your bottle caps. This problem of not having any meaningful narrative outside of the main story gets somewhat solved if you buy Fallout 4's DLCs, but I shouldn't have to tell you that you need to buy DLC to address a problem that doesn't exist in prior Bethesda games. If you compare Fallout 4 to Skyrim, then you can see just how many more factions there are in Skyrim, giving the game much more story to be had after the main questline is done. Even Fallout 3 had much more side content than Fallout 4. On the other hand, all of Fallout 4's eggs are in the baskets of the main story, settlement building, and Radiant quests, but this simply doesn't provide enough content, especially when paired with the size of Fallout 4. So that's my summary of why Fallout 4 was a letdown, and if we go to the reviews of Fallout 4 compared to other Bethesda games, it seems like most of you would agree with me. Again, let me clarify, Fallout 4 is not a bad game, but it's not up to par with Bethesda's standard. So why is that important? What does Fallout 4 have to do with Starfield? Well, if Starfield is going to follow in the same footsteps of Fallout 4 and not make the necessary improvements, then we have reason to believe that the Elder Scrolls 6 will do the same thing. Now, I'm not going to write off Bethesda just because they had one miss. I think all of us make mistakes, and maybe Bethesda genuinely thought the fanbase would be more interested in settlement building than unique quests. But here's the problem. From what we have seen so far, it looks like Bethesda has learned nothing from Fallout 4, and they are making the same crucial mistakes in Starfield. Fallout 4's world was big, but it lacked the detailing of the previous games, and now it looks like Bethesda is keeping up the trend of obsessing with scale over detail in Starfield. When they zoomed out to reveal all of the planets at E3, it reminded me a lot of No Man's Sky, but not in a good way. I feel like Bethesda is not giving us much hope that they are going for depth in their game. If Starfield is the same as Fallout 4 in terms of only having a main story, settlement building, and Radiant quests to offer, then I don't think this game will last very long. It feels like Bethesda is forgetting their roots and what we as a fanbase have come to love over the years. We loved the detail on their older games. We loved how much depth there was to uncover, even if the area of the game wasn't the largest. But now it seems that Bethesda is more concerned with distracting us with a large area rather than giving us unique quest lines and choices that actually impact the world. If I have to make an analogy, I would rather be in a room where I can do a million things over being able to visit a million rooms where I can only do one thing, if that makes any sense. Basically, Bethesda should focus on the depth of their games over the scale, and it seems like Bethesda is biting off more than they can chew with Starfield. Now, Starfield hasn't come out yet, and we still know very little about this game, so I'm not bashing this game. I'm just voicing some concerns I have, stemming mainly from Bethesda's most recent RPG, Fallout 4. I'm a firm believer in using history as a trajectory for the future, and if Starfield fails to deliver, guys, then I'm not so confident that Elder Scrolls 6 will live up to its name. Now personally, I understand that it's too early to call whether Starfield will fail. The game comes out next year, and they already pushed it back once, which is honestly a good sign. Bethesda can take as much time as they want if they give us another game like their titles before Fallout 4. But with the evidence that we have before us, Starfield seems like a game that is going to be extremely difficult to deliver on. If Bethesda manages to do it, they'll revolutionize the gaming industry again like they have in the past. If Bethesda fails, then I think it's fair to assume that the Elder Scrolls 6 will follow in the same footsteps, considering both are being developed by the same team. But who knows? I know this video has been negative so far, but let's give Bethesda the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people were skeptical about Resident Evil 7, but look at how amazing that game turned out. I remember people doubting if Elden Ring or Red Dead Redemption 2 would deliver, and those games absolutely did. Let's just hope that Starfield becomes the next Skyrim and not the next Cyberpunk. But no matter what happens, we'll all be sitting here predicting how the Elder Scrolls 6 will turn out, and we will use Starfield as a clear indicator. There is so much resting on the shoulders of Starfield, especially since it's been teased for so long, and if this game flops, then the gaming world is going to look at Elder Scrolls 6 in a much more skeptical light. So with all this pressure on Starfield, Bethesda, please don't fuck it up. That's all I have for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see if I'm alone on this, or if you guys agree with me, and Starfield leaving a huge mark on the company. These videos take some time to make, and I'm a one-man band over here, so all the support you guys provide really means a lot to me. And as always, if you made it this far, thank you, I love you, and I genuinely hope that you have a great rest of your day.